All right. Just getting things underway. Had to, I guess I didn't have to respond to a question that came through, but I wanted to because it was, and we'll talk about it here in just a second. Yep, yep. Hiring surge at AHA. Um, Rebecca's picked up on that. That's for certain. Um, just waiting on Couchbot to fire, or maybe no Couchbot. That's from yesterday, Chris. Yeah, just in here waiting on Couchbot to fire. I hope that you're doing well. Um, we've got a few things to discuss today, and and these are good things to. There's really good philosophical questions floating around in the ether um, that I don't think that we've really covered, and I'm definitely going to take time to address one that isn't in the loop but just came my way via another entity. So we're gonna jump into that whenever Couchbot fires. Come on, Couchbot, you can do your thing. Um, this is always it's kind of funny because I don't delete these streams, but I do repost them with editing. Um, so yeah, let's see here. Come on, you can do it, Couchbot. Seeing here that institutions like Harvard took bailout cash. That's not a great look. Hmm. That feels weird, right? Yeah, it feels weird. Um, One of the questions that so there's a couple of things that have come across this morning that I think are pretty interesting. Um, and we'll kind of hash around in here before we officially get started. Oh, there's Couchbot. Good, excellent, excellent. That means we can just leave the station. I like that. Um, so here we are. Once again, it is time for the feedback loop. Chris Courtney here, new Pragmatic. Um, got a few interesting things this morning that I really want to jump into. Uh, there was a question. There was a question that came across from Chicky, who I haven't heard from in eons. Chicky is was participating in a hackathon, and she got put on a side project, and the side project was like a gift card redesign thing, and she won. And there was some hubbub about um, she put her website address chicky.design on the final design, and the final design won, and they asked her to remove her website address from the design. And I guess my perspective on this is twofold. One, it's a gift card design. Like, it's not going to bring a lot of promotional value to you as a designer, um, and I have a hard time. I if you look at a gift card, and like flip one over, you'll never see the name of the agency that was paid to design it, or if somebody did it in house, you won't see the name of the designer. So I think it's irrational. Uh, it's irrational to think that your name is going to remain on any of these artifacts that are going external. Like, you don't flip over, you don't go through the about section on the Uber app and hey, there's all the designers' names. Maybe they should be there, but they're definitely not on the order screen. So from my perspective, that's not normally what we would do. We don't normally leave little trail. We talk about these things in our portfolios, but we don't leave a trail of our names. We don't tag things with our names. Um, it's not. This isn't graffiti. That said, I do I do look at I do look at the idea of participating in like a gift card redesign as pretty low stakes. Um, there's not a lot of upside to doing that. It's not something that you can put in your portfolio. There's no there's not a lot of value there. I would much rather see you um, participating in things like the COVID-19 projects that Luigi, Lisa, Tejal are all doing, and I think that that is the way you begin to generate positive results for yourself when talking to potential employers. I was talking with Tejal about this yesterday, and we're gonna get to your project in a minute. Um, but Tejal had this really interesting question about, you know, what can I do to begin reaching out to businesses in the area, because she's wanting to restart the job search. And the thing that I didn't go into advising people to sign up for COVID-19 projects, thinking about how you might be able to do cold call marketing with the results of the project. But Tejal is in a unique situation where the project is functional and live. Yes, it needs refinement, but it's something that you can reach out to every employer on your list, and you can say, hey, um, the economy is busted until we get better testing. That's one thing that we've heard over and over again. I just want to let you know. I just recently participated in a COVID-19 project to help people find testing sites near them, and this is something you can do for your company right now. Just go to this website, enter your email, enter your zip code, and find the testing sites nearest to you, so that you can, so that you're one step closer to returning back to normal. That's a fantastic way to spin things forward, and you're not reaching out and saying, "Hey, I'm looking for a gig." You can reach out to anybody. You can reach out to everybody in, well, hell, anywhere, because the site is nationwide. So if they're in the continental United States, they can enter a zip code and it works. So and there's thousands of testing sites in the database, as I discovered yesterday when talking with her. So I really believe that that this offers an opportunity to begin having that conversation, and that is something that a gift card redesign simply doesn't do. So be careful with how you're spending your time on these side projects. Okay, this is a period of time and an opportunity when there's a lot of really great side projects floating around. And yeah, eventually I hope that you don't have to do any of the side projects, because you're landing gigs at, Slack or Workday or any of these online remote companies. Aha is one that Rebecca threw my way. I've talked about Aha before. They do software as a service, and they apparently are going through a gigantic onboarding of new people. They're a remotely built company, so they're really, all they've ever done is remote, so they're really built for right now, and I think it's really interesting that they're pushing forward with hiring. So there's something definitely good in the water there. Abraham also had a question, and it was relating to the size and scope of a project, and his particular little spot in it, and whether it was significant enough for a portfolio piece. Because again, he's working on projects, and he's trying. Definitely everybody's trying to push their portfolios forward during these trying times. There, I get it out. I get to say it. And it's times like these you learn to live again. And anyway, um, my whole point with Abraham's question is every project offers an opportunity, regardless of what your role in it is. You simply have to believe that it's worth your time. Because if you don't believe it's worth your time, you're not going to really put your full effort into it. You're going to be like, oh man, this is never going to make my portfolio. And I would rather take the approach of, you know what, I'm going to put everything into all the projects that I work on. And some of those things might not make the portfolio. And that's okay. That's okay. I won't know ahead of time what I'm going to ultimately edit out. Are there projects that I haven't put in a portfolio at some point? Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think there's, there, and to be honest with you, I can't remember what they are because they weren't that important on the other side. I later decided that they weren't important. I didn't go into them thinking, oh, this one's going to be the one. This one's going to be the big one that gets me through to the other side. There will definitely be projects that give you that sense, but 9 times out of 10, those are the ones that don't work out from my experience. The ones that, like, oh man, this is going to be a home run. There's got to be there's so many headwinds that go against you on those. Like it's like buying the penny stock that's going to make you $1 million. Sure, it could happen. It could happen, but there's a lot more the likelihood is that it won't. So rather than focusing on what will come, what might come through, just focus on doing a good job. And then when you get to the other side of it, you can then begin to steer like, oh, well, how do we present this online? Let's jump into it because there's a couple of really good questions from Tejal and Rebecca that I want to spend time going through. The first, we're going to start here with Tejal because she's in the middle of developer handoff. Okay, and this is something that we haven't discussed here, but you have to work through it when you're working on a team. I'm just going to fix this right now because notes from, I'm certain that's, oh, I don't have edit access. Tejal, please fix that. Don't send that across like that. And what is so frustrating with form and from is they're both words, so spell check isn't going to save you, right? So just keep an eye out for stuff like that. Here is what I don't like before I read through any of it. I don't like anything where I'm basically booting requirements over a wall. The way this feels very much like it's a hi there developer, nice to meet you. It feels like I'm never actually going to talk to these people. And while that may be true for some of the people who see this document, there should be a formal like, hey, let's hop on a call and let's talk about this. Because I want to make sure that we have a chance to answer your questions. So there is no design development handoff without a meeting. Okay? If it's important enough to have quote handoff attached to it, I want to have at least a 15-minute conversation about what's happening, because I'm certain the other side is going to have questions that aren't addressed here. Questions and concerns that aren't addressed here. And rather than play email tag or throw this over the wall and then run away like here's a grenade, like I want you to be there to A, present the work, and B, listen to them, because that is where I believe you're going to have the greatest amount of growth. You're going to hear their concerns, and they may have concerns that are valid, they may have concerns that are invalid, but they're never going to fully accept a document that's just handed to them and then like the designer just disappeared. I don't know who that is. They just went away. So first things first here, a conversation, a meeting. Get in a Zoom room with them. You can hash it out from there. Um, this um, this and I don't think it's notes from the designer. It's I would just say um, design updates or something that's attached to the project. Um, the project design updates. Um, this could be a living document at that point, like hey, this is updated April 22nd. That's great. It's quote living at this point. You've added how the it says how it works, page details. So I'm guessing that if I come down, I'm really focused on this, how it works. What I would like to see is I know that you've provided the answers here, you've provided the illustrations and whatnot. What I really want here, I know you've got a prototype here. What I really want is I want you to record it. I want you because I could go through the prototype and still get it wrong. And when I click through the prototype, I want to see what you're giving them. Is it the actual plain prototype or is it the larger thing? It says proto, so okay, so this is the prototype that I'm looking for. If I click here, it goes down, goes back up. That's nice. So I get a sense. Well, that was weird. I get a sense of how it works, and that's good. What I don't get is the comfort of seeing the video before I could click a link to the video and just watch that and go, oh, okay, so this is just an accordion thing. There's a lot of things that I could potentially see on this page. I think it's good that you offered them the prototype, right? So they're looking at like how does this work on the screen. But I think if you give them a video, it shows, it takes them exactly, because they could come down here and they're like focused on all this other stuff and they may not really know what to do with it. But if you show them a video and they show them exactly where the interaction is, and I come through and I'm familiar with Figma, so I'm like, I click and I can kind of get the hovers. If they look at this and they just kind of go up and down, they may not know where the issue is. All right, and I don't count on everybody reading everything I give them. That's why at New Pragmatic I try to do the videos and I do the writing and I do the Figma exercises. Like I try to cover it from different directions because I can't expect everybody to consume everything. Although it would be nice, to be honest, it'd be nice. But that's what I would do here. One, I'd get a video in here of the prototype. Use Loom or Cloud App. There's a dozen ways that you can record your screen these days. If you use like QuickTime or something to record your screen, you have to then upload it somewhere. So that can sometimes be a hassle. But there are ways. I mean, you know how to do this. And from there, I really think getting on a call with them. But if you cover the video so it shows exactly what's happening, and you do the call, I think that you will get to a point where you're hearing what their concerns might be. You had another issue here, and I want to try to address that because it's over here. Love some feedback on the documents I sent to the dev team. Do I need to do anything else? You got that part. I spoke with them yesterday, and they told me there were a lot of conflicting styles. So at least you have spoken with them. I don't know what spoken means, but they were making changes to an existing template to accommodate my design. They're trying to find someone who will scratch the original template and code the new design from scratch. Yeah, I like that's interesting. They asked me to send specific notes on what needs to be fixed. I was thinking about coding in basic CSS. Yes, so they can lift things from there. You will find. What do you think? What if I put structured grid text styles that will help them? What's the best way to do this? So there's a couple of different ways that I would go about this, Tejal. One would be, um, we looked at their app, and their app is twofold. It's got this front end and back end components that you have to tether together. So sometimes getting that spun up on your local machine is a lift. However, if you go through and you say, hey, listen, I'm going to provide you with the basics and for this about page, and I'm just going to spin it up really fast. I think that allows them the opportunity to say, oh, okay, well, here's a lot of the CSS. The question I have is, can you get access to that very quickly? So what I want to do is come over to VS Code, because I know we pulled this down. As you can see, I've got a lot of work for design patterns already in play. I'm going to save this. And close out of that. I'm doing a lot of work on New Pragmatic right now. Let's open up. Well, it wasn't circuit styles. So, yeah, actually, let's just open. Let's find that project. And Tejal, where are you at? There you are. Let's open this. So your project, obviously, it's a Docker project. We're not going to get into that this morning. But what I am curious about is, if we go through, do you have a way to get to a CSS file that you can work with? So here's the public file. Here's the source file. It's probably in here. Components. Forms. Footer. Let's just take a look at this. Oh, it's a React app. Okay, well that's nice. The good news here is, because you know a little bit about Gatsby, you might be better off than we think. So, okay, so this is the Argon design system for React. It looks like they're writing this probably in. Okay, so this is written in SAS. Oh, this is all part of the designs. This is part of the existing design system. So that's interesting. An existing design system, and I have not looked at Argon design system, but we can find out more about that right here. It's coded by Creative Tim. Thanks, Creative Tim. Appreciate your contributions. Let's go look at this project, though. See what Creative Tim shows us. Okay, so here is Argon. It's a free bootstrap for what this would allow you to do, I think, is better understand how the system is built. So they've got some example pages here. What you're not going to be able to do, because it's React, is really come in and see how this is coded, because it's going to give you a bunch of garbage. Well, no. Okay, so header global. Yeah, this is actually fairly clean. I was expecting a lot of compiled React, but it looks like as you go through, um, check the components here, check the foundation here. Yeah, actually, this has got a lot of good docs. So, um, I would I would come through. Let's see, where does the grid? Like, I'm sure it's got like a grid tool. Those are date pickers and whatnot. Let's just go to the overview. Um, so if you were wanting to code this up, it's built on top of Bootstrap 4. Um, so it might be best to like utilize this to properly understand how they are basically setting margins and whatnot. Effectively, um, you know, I'm almost certain that Creative Tim is probably using some version of this. So here we are. We're going to come back into the demo. Let's let's take a peek at how this is being set up. And yeah, so for instance, like you would want to come through and say, okay, well, it's section hero, section shaped. And now I'm wanting to come through and compare get tested. Let's go in and look at how it's being used on the actual site right now. Spec. So yeah, okay. So this is following like pretty closely. What I would suggest doing, like on this header global, is looking at. So it's got navbar main, navbar transparent, light, all LG headroom, top headroom, not bottom. Like better understanding of what these things are doing, so that you can help them understand. Okay, I know they're having a problem with this header, right? So let's go through and like help them figure out how to get this thing to actually work. So the container is set up and it's basically constrained. This navbar. So navbar container container. So you would definitely want flex there. Max width is 1120. And it's the max width of the container that is throwing things off. But if they would take, it looks like the issue is container, navbar container. I'm just gonna take container off. Well, no, that didn't work. There's something about there's an override in the CSS, and it looks like it's a max width 1200. So that what they really need here is they need a default style that's basically just at a minimum width of 1200. It collapses down to 1120. What they need to do is they need to come in and sort out if this is going full width, because it appears like, I'm going to zoom out. Now I'm curious about something else. Yeah, so if I zoom all the way out, like if we get on like some super duper big desktop machine, it's going to go into things like this where things are just completely stretched. So I get why this is happening, but if we come down, so let's go the other way with it. Let's go to Bootstrap and figure out, okay, let's look at the documentation. Actually, I always like going to the examples. What is being used? Actually, it's probably we can probably just dig it up right here. This information right here is being centered on the page, right? What is being placed on that? And it says that's lead. This is row. That's container. And here, container has a max width of 1440. Yeah, that looks familiar, right? But it also it's using margin right and margin left auto also, which is missing from this one. So it says navbar container has a margin of 0. And I'm just curious about main. Okay, so by adding container to the main class, which gives it, you can see it automatically pulls in. They've got issues here that are kind of self-inflicted because they're measuring in from a side that isn't really there, doesn't really need the padding that's been associated with it. So they're doing these negative margins. Yeah, PL6, PL5s. It's in. Oh, I see. Like this, got important on it. Yeah, PR6. Is that coming from Bootstrap? Let's go to the documentation. Look at layout. Grid. Oh no, this is still using call small. Yeah, so that's not coming from. So let's look at the content. I wonder if that PL is coming over here from Aragon. Oh no. Well, yeah, they've got PX 0 here. PB 250. So this PL6 stuff that we're seeing in here, this might be coming from that Aragon design. But the question is it being properly applied? And I don't know that it is. If I pull this container off the main, we go back wide, and we come in lower, and we say container. That threw everything off real quick. Let's just remove. Let's keep section. Breaking things. Yeah, it definitely. Let's refresh. This is where I like getting into inspect element and just kind of digging around to see what I can bust and where it's busted. You can tell they're forcing this into place. And we keep coming down like, so this was the section. This is the shape. Let's try to put container here. That pulls it in from one side but not the other. So this is row. Okay, div class equals container. Oh, it didn't take. I must have. Class equals container. And I'm doing something wrong. Huh. It's weird. It's not allowing me to apply a class there. The reason I want to apply a class here is because I can tell that this is taking a row, and typically you have the row inside of a container, but I can't get in here and make it container. For whatever reason, it's blocking that. But that's why this is going full width. It needs a container right about here, but I can't tell why it's rejecting that. You know, because if you know, well, you need to set the width, and then you need the rest of it. But adding a container to any of this will immediately straighten it out. And then the question here is, what has happened up here on header global that's made this wonky at this level? Because and actually, let's just look at this. Can we take navbar container? Yeah, navbar container is the issue. When you just have container, it's centered up, and you can begin to continue moving down. Question I have is, and maybe you want to go full width, so maybe you come back and you say, okay, well, let's just take off container. And nope, it didn't like that. So there is a full width container. So let's see. Let's go back to layout. Container fluid. Container fluid is what we're looking for. So if we come back here and we say container fluid, that fixes that and pushes it to the outside. So that's a common problem. Container fluid will allow them to move around. So if we hop in here and we start futzing with this, it's not going to break anything there. And then when you get out here, it'll just automatically stick. So I would encourage you to like say, yeah, could we just use container fluid on the nav so that it like goes edge to edge? And that's you digging, that's you showing them that, hey, I can dig into the documentation too. And then, you know, you can look into, hey, can we put a container around these areas? Because you know that they're using Bootstrap, which is being used by this Argon design system. If you can do those things, I think you'll be well off to fix some of the troubles that they're having. It's not that they're coding everything from scratch. It's that they have pulled in a design system, and what I suspect has happened, and you all know how this works. When you pull in a design system, you pull in a framework like Bootstrap, it's hard to edit certain things. And what happens along the way is you start forcing overrides. And when you force the overrides, you get a message from the developers that says, yeah, there's a lot of conflicting styles in here, and I'm not really sure what's going on. Because somebody just came through with a wrench and forced it into place. All right? But one of the easiest things that you can fix would be this header, just switching it to fluid, and moving forward from there. But I think, you know, at a structural level, this is actually pretty easy to fix. They just need a little guidance on, hey, I was digging into the documentation, and it looks like if we just put a container fluid on the nav, it'll work better. And little wins like that along the way are how you begin to develop a relationship with the developer, because they don't know how this stuff works. They're focused on the back end of things, and that Bootstrap and this Argon system, they're just supposed to, quote, work. And if you know anything about pulling in an external resource, it's that typically it doesn't just work. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there, Tedral. I think we've beaten this horse into the ground, and let's move on. But I do want to take a second to drop this in, because I do think that it's definitely something you're going to want to take a look at, if you haven't already. It's just good to know what your system's what this thing is being built off of, and you can kind of see all the components and styles and all of that. All right, so let's jump out of this. React strap, that's fun. Let's come back over to, I'm not even sure what that is. Where did Rebecca go? I'm sure Rebecca's in here. There's Rebecca. Okay, finished bringing in the HTML for CarePoint site, better quality images. You need some help with styling. Typography is the same as Okta, but looks plain. I also love some help getting CareSite Hero on the homepage. Seem to have broken all the images. All right, well, let's just take a look at what she's got. Yeah, sorry, my desktop has gotten messy again. I swear I didn't mean for it to do that. Let's go through and find Rebecca. My VS Code is telling me that I have a lot of things open. All right, Rebecca, we've got CarePoint here. This is interesting because at some point this is going to need to move into the case studies, and that at that point all your images are going to break again. So I wonder if we just like do that now rather than later. But we'll come back to that. So yeah, let's check this out. Get status. I bet you moved it. Get pull origin master. Did you move it? No, where'd it go? Okay, so it's right here. Yeah, I don't see why it would immediately break, but I do see. Yeah, I do see. Like, you put all your images aren't in the image folder right now. Okay, so I'm gonna open this in. I'm gonna find in folder. Nope, that's not what I want to do. Thanks. Reveal in Finder. Come on, do it. I'd like to move this stuff around here. So let's put this stuff in images. That feels better. Let's also do yourself the solid. Let's get images here. Illustration learned here. care point inside of case studies. Okay, so that's all been moved around. This is going to look a little different now, and it's also going to be this is going to be convoluted when we get this restarted. So let's just agree that we're going to have some work to do here. If we look at Okta though, you'll see that all we really have to do to pull these back into place is do the dot dot, because you're going outside of Okta, or you're going outside of case studies into images and into the specific image that you're looking for. So let's go to CarePoint. Let's go ahead and go live with this page, and let's see exactly what is busted, and lots of things are going to be busted. Or not. Or not. Now, it looks like everything is magically found its way home. Are we sure this is just like, you said it's just like Okta, and I'm not sure. Yeah, the line work is, like the line work here is cleaner. I wonder what, I'm wondering what the difference is. Let's go through and look at your file. So okay, so content container, I want to look at Okta. I mean, something's changed here. So here, let's go back. I just want to, so my design process, let's focus there. So my design process is an H2 that lives outside of section. Let's now look at CarePoint. I think you had these things living outside of your sections. I'm going to duplicate this tab just so we can. Project overview. Okay, let's take a look at this. Project overview. Oh, weird. Wait, are there multiple project overviews? Oh, project overview, then project overview. What's this supposed to be? I see information architecture. I think the trick here was that you had your H2s existing outside, and that fixes that line work issue. Also here, I would just get rid of this line, like it's not on the other illustrations. You're not using an implied line here or here, so just get rid of that one. I realize it's not like perfect, but I just don't think that's adding a lot. You've got like some sort of weird thing there. Sorry, I've got to like close some of these things down. Busy day today, lots of meetings, so that's fun. Looking forward to chatting with all of you. So you're saying that that feels dull, basically. Um, I don't necessarily think it feels dull, nor do I feel like it's exact. Um, so here you've got this colored type. I don't necessarily know if you need the color. It's not ideal in my opinion. Project this is clean. I don't see a real issue with it. Um, I think what you may be encountering here is that um, you know, when you're getting started here, everything feels a lot longer than what you had previously. Um, so, and also, I think that one of the big problems is that it's not moving. And what I mean by that is, um, with Okta, right away, you went from wide to kind of a broken up presentation to a left, right, middle, broken up, small chunks, broken up. Like, and over here on CarePoint, you don't have any movement of your typography at all. It's pretty much just straight down, all the way down. And I do think that if you decided to take nurses and you know put information here, I think you would, and then you came back with healthcare admins and you put information here, and maybe you know this maybe this is just too much type. Maybe you need to shorten it up a little bit so that it you don't have to have everything just go straight down the page. That I think is the real issue that you're having here. How you want to go about sorting that out, I'm not really sure because that would be a deeper conversation. Um, yeah, everything's just going straight down right now. So that's where your real issue is. It's just going straight down. It's not moving to the right or to the left. Like I think if you can do that, I think you'll have a lot more. It'll feel a lot more like the variety that you had here, at least. Okay. Um, let's that, and you don't have anything that kind of takes back over, and like this Octa moves around quite a bit, and I think that's why it feels, and it you know I don't know. It's been edited to fit the form. CarePoint hasn't been edited to fit the form yet. Right now, CarePoint's just been like dropped in, and we have not massaged it. So there's that. You had another question though, related to. Oh, sorry. Uh, yeah. So we fixed all the images. That's good. Seem to have broken. Uh, typography is same. Care site hero on the home page. So the hero on the home page thing, if we come back over and we kind of bounce out of this and we come back over to the home page. So featured work, basically the question is, if you're pulling over the hero, is it going to be exactly like it is here? And I do think the light blue is better, so that's an improvement from yesterday. Let's take a look at. So this is the nav. Oh, sorry. No, that's not the nav. Maybe header? Yeah, header. So here's the care hero. And it's basically all of that. So I'm just going to come over and let's go back to your index page. SVGs are large. That's not okay. So you got Octa Hero, Silly Candy Hero. I'm just gonna do that and see what pops up. And nope, that's not the home page. Here's the home page, and there's the hero. You will likely need to do some more work to it, but we just picked it up like it was a component and like said, okay, here it is, boom. And it's because you don't have any conflicting styles that you can do that. I still think there's probably a little bit of space over to the right, but it's there. So we can tweak further. What I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna kick this back over to you, so that you can pull in the changes, because let's be honest, there are a lot of changes just because structurally regenerating like where all the images moved and where CarePoint lives at now. That's gonna need an update. So we're gonna say get status. It's like all the stuff. So get add dot get commit updates from feedback loop, get push origin master, and away we go. Yeah, we covered a lot of stuff this morning. So for Chicky and Abraham and Tejul and Rebecca, I'm absolutely glad that we could take some time out this morning and jump into the issues, the questions that, the issues and questions that you were having. And hey, that's it for the feedback loop. I'm Chris Courtney. I will talk to all of you again tomorrow. Take care.